Let's start off with Ice Cube though, man, because like I was saying, he jumped out the window, and let's face it, Ice Cube has always been outspoken over the years, but this is not quite a Kanye moment, but he felt like it was a need to now step up and call out, the NBA in particular for trying to, I would say, lack of a better word, sabotage the Big Three movement by telling, big time investors, not to deal with them and not really offering them any type of support. What'd you think, man, when you hear that? And then on telling that, he talked about, all right, I'm going on this podcast tour right now. I'm going to expose these people. Today he's been on Bill Maher, I think The Breakfast Club, and Joe Rogan. I'm not sure if there is anybody else, but what's your thoughts on that?
Obviously when he first came out, when he jumped on his social media and delivered what everyone grabbed and started talking about, it made headways for the time that it did, talking about gatekeepers. Speaking about when he started the contract with Black America a couple of years ago during the election, the type of impact that it was making and the type of kickback he got from a lot of people in the media that look just like us, right? So gatekeepers are real, gatekeepers are alive. And then he brought up the Big Three and how they were gatekeepers trying to hold him back. And he was going on his podcast tour to go ahead and just call out those gatekeepers and just put a wrinkle in the powers that be. Put a wrinkle in what they got going on. And we all for that over here. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's not about exposing the BS. It's about exposing the truth and things that we talk about from outside the industry that we can kind of see with our very eyes.
Right.
And for somebody in the industry to go ahead and confirm some of these things, okay, good. We can start putting lines to things. Because although there's a lot of things out there that's BS, the things that are true, we want to get to the bottom of those truths. And Ice Cube was hopefully, oh God, going to start exposing some of them truths. I still hold faith that he will. Looking at the first 3 podcasts that he was on, Bill Maher, and that's a full-out fucking show. That ain't a podcast.
Right.
Joe Rogan Experience, that's a full-out show. That's a little more than a podcast. And The Breakfast Club, which he was on today, and I want to play an excerpt. They got a piece cut out, him talking about gatekeepers that we could both listen to for the first time. I want to play that just to get some context.
Yeah.
I would think that he would talk about more of the contract of Black America, talk about some of the reasons why he felt like he was being held back or talked about in a negative light for these situations and really start getting to the bottom of it. But what I'm seeing, is that it's more about the Big Three, which is no problem. That's your league, and deservingly so.
Right.
More about the NBA and this power struggle between viewership and NBA's, I don't want to say competition because they're played at different times, but something different than the NBA.
Right.
And I'm just kind of confused on the messaging. That's all. Right now, I came in thinking that it was going to be a one-way kind of messaging, and I'm getting something different. So I'm just kind of waiting and seeing where all this is going.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that way too. And first, let me put it out there because I support, the Big Three. Yeah. I support the fact, and I love the fact that it's Black owned, and it could be at some point a competition to the NBA. But just like in the podcast business, a bigger company like Breakfast Club or any other podcast is not going to want to help another podcast or pass them. They just ain't going to want to do it. You know what I mean? Don't make any sense. You see McDonald's ever helping out Burger King? But at the end of the day, I don't agree with the sabotage. Like, all right, you might not want somebody to pass you or whatnot, and it's business and it's competitive. But when you start doing it to try to purposely sabotage it, I'm not with that. I don't agree with that. Now it's messaging. I would like to hear more about the contract of Black America, what was in it, but it's starting to kind of appear like, and I'm not saying nothing's wrong with this. He's real focused on more so establishing his brand over all else. And maybe some people are saying maybe that's more so the issue. Like, do you really care about the oppression and shit going on, or do you just want your business to pop, for lack of a better word?
And this is why a conversation with him would be so dope. And whether it happens or not is what it is. But we can ask him that because on one side, I'd be crazy to say, given what he's done and what he sacrificed, and he wrote a contract with Black America and delivered it to both parties. Like, ain't nobody out here in hip hop doing no shit like that.
Word, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's taking the time and he took it to another level. So it would be unfair for us to say, okay, he really ain't for us. But then you look at the moves and the steps, and they kind of don't go hand in hand with what we really, it's just weird. You know what I'm saying? So as opposed to assuming and making an ass out of you, me, and everybody else, it'd be dope to just have a conversation with him just to kind of get that from the horse's mouth. I want to play a clip of what because you talked about gatekeepers,
cool,
and other things, and I want to talk about what he says here, and if it brings some different context to what we're talking about.
Okay.
I love this tour you've been on too, man, because it feels like this is authentic Ice Cube, right? And it's like, I mean, you've always been authentic, but it feels like, you know, I'm railing against the machine. So I was going to ask, who out of the gatekeepers, are the gatekeepers worse in sports, Hollywood, or the music? Yeah,
I think they all around. You know, I don't think it's worse than any other, you know, I guess profession. You know, I think there's, you know, people that try to make sure you stay in your lane, and if you look like you're getting out of your lane, you know, sometimes they'll watch you, sometimes they'll put guardrails up, and sometimes they'll actually put a gate up and make sure you go no further. So, you know, that's what we have happening here. And this is just my testimony. But we all got them, and we all got to figure out who they are. We don't have to let them know we know who they are. We just got to figure out how to get around that gate.
Is there an Illuminati, Ice Cube?
Oh, shit. Hold on.
You've been around a long time.
Probably so. Yeah. You know, I don't know none of them. None of them tell me, hey, I'm Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? I don't participate in none of that, so I don't know about it. You know, seem like it's there, but who knows?
So how do you beat the gatekeepers? Because I feel like we're in an era where there's no gates. I feel like everybody can just do their own thing. So how do you beat the gatekeepers that still exist?
I think you persist. You don't let them stop you. You know, they there. Now everybody that's in front of the gate ain't always paying attention. You know, I've dug security and hit the fence before and got in. Mm-hmm. So I'll do it again. It's like I'm not used to going through the front door anyway. So if the front door is locked, then we get in.
Yeah, because it feels like gatekeeping.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
I think we got all we needed from that.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Definitely more context, and I now I see him a little more clear, you know, where he's coming from, and I think it's both. And when I said it earlier, I said, is he more so concerned about establishing his business, you know, or the plight of black people and gatekeepers, you know, and it's not obviously not a black specific thing, but we black people, right? But yeah, he wants to, you know, there's nothing wrong. You want to get your business, we want to get our business. I want to get my business established to a point, you know, where it's one of the top. That's what everybody wants to do at the end of the day. Now the gatekeeper part, I think that we know that that's real. And we know how, like, when you start becoming a competition, even if you don't even know if you're competition to somebody, people, you know, will start to maybe not put those fences up in a sense, but their fence may be not mention you, you know, or don't share none of your shit, or whatever, you know, little thing that it could be, or tell guests not to go, you know, on your podcast, or whatever the case may be, or steal your narratives. We've seen all of that type of stuff. That's probably the type of stuff that he's dealing with the NBA. I don't know how he knows, you know, about, you know, the NBA, you know, telling people not to deal with the big three, but I believe it, bro, because we see it on our small little level. We see that you got gatekeepers that do all types of little stuff behind the scenes, and we might find out a year later, like, oh, really, they said this, or they did this. And oh yeah, they stole this narrative and shit. And people coming and telling us, oh, he stole your narrative. He didn't want to mention you. That been on these people's show. But like Ice Cube said, you keep persisting and you keep going through and you keep fighting, you know, through the whole process. But it's 100% true. I just want Ice Cube, like what happens with a lot of people, I think with the Charlamagne and some of the people, is that you don't become the gatekeeper yourself. Now, once you get through the door, once, you know, security ain't looking and you're able to go under the fence, you don't now get in there and put up your gate either. You come in there and you now help. And that's all I always look for with people that come up. Who are you helping? Are you putting out a helping hand to help bring somebody up? or you just sitting up there being a gatekeeper. I look at Charlamagne, I look at Envy, I look at all these people, and maybe they did. I don't know. Because you see they got people like Jess Hilarious and stuff coming on there, people that mainly already established. But what about one of my criticisms of Charlamagne? I'm gonna be done after this, right? I gotta add this in there. Is that you got the Black Effect, and we know people that was on the Black Effect and all this, but how many people have you actually went down to help come on a show? Now, some people may say, you don't got to do that. You brought them on the Black Effect. Nah, I believe that if you got podcasts on the Black Effect, and it's just my personal opinion, you should go down and, and help them going on the show. Let them interview you. But that's just my constructive criticism.
Very well put. I agree with all of it.
Right.
And a lot of it is what I was going to share too. Now, as far as, it's funny because nobody can gatekeep us. Now, they could put up gates, right, but they ain't keeping us nowhere.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of reason why they get pissed off with us sometimes. But that's another story for another day. It's just unfortunate that a lot of people that throw them gates up towards us look just like us.
That's the part. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Most 95.5% of them look just like us.
Yeah.
While they're on their various whatever publications spewing this we're going to do for us, kings, queens, all this shit, they going behind, you know what I mean, and doing the very thing that happened to us for generations and generations, and we were supposed to build past that by doing this shit together. But whatever the case may be, I agree with what a lot of Ice Cube said. I just want him. It's not that I want him, because he doesn't have to do a damn thing we want. But at the end of the day, I would hope to see him get to some of these independently generated platforms.
There you go. Yeah.
That are doing their thing in their various locations. It don't just have to be us. I swear to goodness, you know what I'm saying? There's so many dope platforms out here that have put money where their cameras are and where their lights are and where their content is, to be deserving of having an interview or sit down with Ice Cube to get to the real topics and the real issues. And I would love to see that, just because that would feel like, okay, this is a little more authentic. This is a little more for the people. You know what I'm saying? And we're in a generation and in an age right now, we all see the shit. Everybody has the same YouTube on basically the same damn iPhone and getting the same content. If you look up Ice Cube, then Ice Cube content is going to be there 9 times out of 10. You're going to see the platforms that are taking care of their shit.
Yeah.
And are deserving of having you on a platform. You ain't got to go on any Joe Smoke. There's people out here doing just as good as numbers as all these other platforms.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you the mainstream propaganda bullshitish, okay, what are we doing here, feeling that we kind of get with these mainstreamers. I would like to see that. Hopefully we do. Like I said, I applaud what Ice Cube's doing. Ice Cube has our support here on the platform. Going to always call a spade, and we're just going to keep watching and keep observing and keep talking about it.
Yeah, you got, real quick, got to touch the grassroots. I mean, you look at any major movement that had to do with black people, even other people, you got with the grassroots. Yeah. You got with the youth. You got with the people, at the proverbial bottom. And there's nothing wrong to go to the top. That's fine to do your interviews over there. But I just think that, the message is just differently received when you go to the grassroots. I just think it's more authentic. It's more raw. It's more real. Yeah. I don't care. Like, I just something I'm always, live by and live with. You could do your Joe Rogans for the numbers, your Bill Maher, your Breakfast Club for the numbers, fine, your millions and all that. But it's going to be here today, going tomorrow. You come to a grassroots, it's going to be something that's going to be in-stitched in history forever, bro. And that's the type of interviews that we do here. We got shit that's in-stitched forever in history on our platform, not just the 15 minutes, a day or two they talking about it and they forget about the next. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. But salute, man. I hope it don't feel like it's shade to Ice Cube. Not at all. We just keeping it a buck, and we support Ice Cube 100%. And he has supported us in the past, advertising on our platform as well. So, salute.
It's all love, man. Hopefully we can talk to you, whether it be on camera or behind camera, man. You got our support. Much love.